2. Check 1 1 2 2 2. Yo. What's going on with this? Okay. Check 1 1 2. We should be live. This is the Pad Bank podcast, if you didn't know. Which you should know because it says it right there. For some reason. Okay, yeah, we're back. We're live. Alright, so let's just test the audio. Okay, yeah. We're good. Alright, so if you're locked in, good evening and welcome to the Pad Bank podcast. We're streaming live right now, so welcome. If you're joining, give me a quick 1 2 1 2 in the comments. Let me know where you're listening in from. If you don't know, my name is Tony Brown, and I usually live stream here on YouTube. Usually Akai MPC beat making videos, but I also run I also established a Facebook group called the Pad Bank, specifically for beat makers, producers, etc. Small community, about 1,000 or so producers, and the idea there is just to encourage producers, motivate them, inspire them, give instruction, share advice. We all kind of learn off each other, and off the back of that I also do this podcast, the Pad Bank podcast. I'm trying to make it more official. I'm so sporadic with it, like I'll start doing like beat reviews live and then I'll stop. Even like with the group, I started the group, it was all in the group, and then my time just got limited and I had to kind of hand it over to some other members to moderate and be admins in the group. So my plan with this is, I've been wanting to do a podcast for a long time. Like, I started podcasting in 2012, for those that don't know. I actually started podcasting in 2012. I had a podcast on iTunes. Then I had another podcast when I wrote my book, Standard Procedure. I had a podcast to promote this. So I basically would break down the chapters and just talk about all the things that I basically discussed in the book. Then off the back of this, I had another podcast called Business Systems Explored. And that podcast, like, it went mad. Like, I was getting 20,000 downloads each episode. So I ain't new to this podcast game. So some of you might be thinking, oh, Tony's jumping on the podcasting because it's popular right now. Listen, I've been doing this since 2012. Even like with at the moment, you look at all the other platforms, the big platforms, like, Breakfast Club, Hot 97, because of the current quarantine lockdown, a lot of those platforms are forced to have to do Zoom interviews and interviews over Skype and that. I was doing that back in 2013, Do you get me? Like video interviews on what's it called? It was called Hangouts on Air. Do you get me? And what I was doing, I would like find people in business, like right across the world, people in Australia, America, and interview them about their business, their branding, their strategy. You can still find them on YouTube now. Do you get me? 2014, 2015, them times. So again, all that ain't new to me. So I say all that to say, I ain't jumping on no bandwagon. I've been doing this for a while. But with this, like I said, I've been wanting to do a podcast specifically about production, producers, you know, everything in and around making beats and making music, producing music for a long time. I've been wanting to do that for ages. I actually got loads of equipment, cameras, lighting, all that stuff, and I was going to partner with someone, but it kind of fell through. So I thought, you know what, everyone's back on the Zoom thing. That's becoming like the norm now, so now's the time to start. So the hope is with this is, number one, I get some good feedback from you guys. You know, you like the format, and I want you to tell me, is this something that you would be interested in seeing more of? Obviously, I'll post beat making videos, you know, a live stream. If I get inspiration, I'm going to make a beat, I'll turn the camera on, just live stream it. I've done tutorials, I've done review videos, etc. With this is more conversational. Do you get me? I want to have guests on here to interview them, other producers, members of the Pad Bank community, and interview them, talk about their process, their journey as a producer, and also just discuss current issues and current affairs in and around music production. So there's a few things I want to talk about today. I've got a few things I want to discuss today. Now, one thing I want to know is, how's my audio sounding? I need to do a quick check because I don't want to run ahead and start going into this and it's unbalanced. So just give me a second. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. My mic sounds nice. Check one. What I will do is turn down the beat a little bit. So I've got the MPC in the background here. Let's turn this down a little bit. Okay, I'm keeping the MPC on cock, so anytime, you know what I mean, feel like drawing a little beat, boof, it's right there. Can pull that up. So, yeah, we're going to try and do this quite regular. You know what I mean? We're all locked down at the moment. We all could do with some additional content, so I'm going to try and do this quite regular. So like I said, it's a Pad Bank podcast. The Pad Bank is a group that I started on Facebook. It's a Facebook community for producers, beat makers, you know, where we inspire one another, encourage one another, etc. However, something came to light, not even recently, it's something I've been observing a lot, and I don't like it. And you see, in my group, I don't tolerate it. I've never tolerated it. So as well as being in the Pad Bank, I'm also in other music-related, producer-related groups. And what I'm seeing is there's a pattern of negativity from producers towards other producers. Like, it's like there's this catty, bitchy attitude. And it's not good, man. Yo, it's not good, because a lot of producers, I'm going to say it straight, are big men. Do you get me? Like, I'm a big man. You know, I'm in my 40s. And there's people in these groups older than me, around my age, and some younger than me. But the majority, we're all around the same age. If you think about the MPC community, we all kind of, many of us, I don't want to make no sweeping statements, many of us come from a certain generation of production, the 90s. So we're all either in our late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, even 50s. And what I've seen is, like, when there's any discussions taking place, when someone expresses their opinion, you know, somebody might post a beat or whatever, it very quick. The comment section very quickly gets bitchy. Like it's straight away beef, and not even beef, just like, you know what I mean, man, are just negative towards each other. And I thought, what's that about, man? Like, why is that so? And I don't have the answer, but I'm just sharing my observations. You know what I mean? Like, is it bitterness? Is it the fact that because we're all of a certain age, and you know we've all gone on our journey, and you know many of us in these groups, I'll be honest with you, many of the people in these groups, they're not full-time professional producers. They're either hobbyists, or you know there might be like low level, you know, they may probably make some income from it, but they ain't made it. Do you get what I'm saying? They're not like made it. You get me? Rich, made it in the music industry, successful, got plaques. That it's not that level of producer in these groups. So part of me's thinking, has that created a level of bitterness amongst the producer community? Whether you've witnessed it or not, let me know. Have you experienced any bitterness in these groups? Are you in any of these groups? Are you bitter? You know what I mean? Are you one of those people? If so, why? You know what I mean? For me, like I said, with the pad bank, one of the main reasons I set it up is because when I first got my MPC, I went and joined some of these groups, and I would post questions because, again, I had an MPC back in the 90s. I had an MPC 2000, and then around, say, 90, when was it? About 2007, I moved away from it. I stopped sampling and started using like Reason and Cubase and that. Anyway, cut a long story short, when I picked back up the MPC, there were some new features in there. So obviously it had the software, you get me, and there were some things I needed to learn quickly. So I'd go in these groups and ask questions, and like I just recognize again the negativity, like, yo, that don't rub well with me. You get me? I don't operate like that. And I thought, you know what? I'm not into this. I'm setting up my own group, and my group will be to encourage people, to motivate people, to equip people, to share good practice. Like there's this kind of cloaked, you know, you're not watching my process. This kind of hidden, I've got the secret sauce and I ain't showing you how I do what I do. Where I've never been like that. I've always been, yo, if I find something, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how it's done, how I do it. If I know there's a good source of, you know, whatever it is over here, I'm going to say, yo, go over there and check that out. To get what I'm saying? That's just my nature. So I wanted my group to reflect that. So, like I said, in my group, it's not tolerated. It's really not tolerated. And I'm not here to promote the group. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of, this is kind of an introductory episode. Really not here to promote the group. But the main thing I would say is you will get removed from the group if you bring any of that negativity to the table. Like, you know what I mean? The numbers in our group could be 3 to 4 times bigger than what they are. But what you saying, Crazy Beats? I trust you well, man. Yeah, man. You're definitely part of the community. I salute you. I salute you as well. The numbers in that group could be 3 to 4 times bigger than what they are. However, I vet who joins the group because I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to create a community there. Do you get what I'm saying? A positive, encouraging community. So number one, if you come in there just to promote your beat tape or to promote your loop pack, you know what I mean? I'm not having it. If you're coming in there just to kind of slate other people and to be negative and bitter towards other people, you're getting removed. If you're coming in there just to promote your thing and belittle others, again, you're getting removed from the group, and that's just how it was, and that's how it is. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's an opportunity to, you know, showcase your beats you're working on, ask for constructive criticism, ask for feedback, share your work in progress. I encourage all of that, but number one, it's not a self-promotion platform. You know what I mean? I don't really want that. There's many other groups for that. So I try to create a platform where you can, in a safe environment, ask for advice, ask for, ask the stupid questions then. Do you get me? And those that are in the group, I'm sure they will agree, we've kind of created that. But like I said, in these other groups, it's like a bunch of bitter women, man. No disrespect, I don't mean to kind of disrespect women in that sense, but it's that bitchy attitude. I mean, obviously men can have a bitchy attitude as well because they're doing that in the group, and that's what I'm seeing. Like there's a bitterness, there's a bitchiness, there's a kind of holier than thou attitude. Like, I'm better than you. Oh, you're an idiot. If you don't know that, you're a novice. You know what I mean? And what I've noticed is you can have thousands of people in these groups, but very little engagement. And it's because the environment that has been created does not cater or does not invite that kind of openness and transparency. So a man can be struggling, like, how do I get my drums like that? Or how do I export this from here? Or, a man might be struggling with things, but he's scared to ask the question in the group because of the holier than thous and the big man them. So what's that about? Help me out, man. Help me out. I need to understand that. In the comments, let me know. What is that about? Like I said, I think it's got something to do with the fact that some of these guys ain't made it. You know what I mean? They're pursuing their dream of being a producer, a professional, successful music producer, and they've reached a certain age and they ain't made it yet, and that's caused a level of bitterness. I ain't bitter. I'm not. I haven't made it as a professional music producer. I haven't made it. Am I a music producer? Yes, I am. I produce music. I release music. I work with artists. Am I successful? Yes, I am. But in other areas, do you get what I'm saying? My income is not dependent on me selling beats or, making music. So I think that there's no pressure. In terms of when I make music because I love doing it. You know what I mean? It's my pastime, it's my hobby, it's, it's like a lifelong love that I've had from a child, right the way through my teenage years, right the way through as a young man, right the way now through to being a big man. And I will always do it. There's times I've tried to walk away from it. Like all this equipment here, there was a time where I never had none of it. I went from having a full kitted out studio, turntables, sampler, mixer, you know what I mean, the whole nine, to then having nothing, to then building back up. I tried to walk away from it and I couldn't walk away from it. It's a lifelong love, you know what I mean. But I really believe some of these guys, they haven't made it. They feel like they've missed the opportunity, and they're now they carry a level of bitterness with them. And you know what? It might be unconscious. Thinking about it now, it might be unconscious. Like they might not even realize that they're acting how they're acting, and they might not even realize that it's the root of their behavior. Who knows? But yeah, man, it's definitely there. And if you've experienced it, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you've experienced any backlash, any bitterness, any bitchiness from other producers in these. Okay, we're back, I think. Yeah, we're back. Sorry, the connection went down, man. The stream's playing up. But yeah. Diogo, how's it going, man? I don't know where you're locked in from, but big up yourself. Yeah, so that's that. We bonfire on now. You know what I mean? We're not into no negativity at all. And we're not trying to promote that. But I'll be interested to hear your thoughts as well. Right. Something else I wanted to touch on is obviously Quarantine's a talk right now. You get me? We're all experiencing this quarantine situation. How are you making the best use of your time during this quarantine period? For a lot of us, our normal pattern has changed. You know what I mean? A lot of us, we probably had a lot more time constraints. You know, some of us don't have to go to work no more. We're working from home. Some of us, you know, I mean, for me, I work from home anyway, so not really changing that sense. But, you know, there was other social things happening. Now, I'm conscious as producers, a lot of stuff ain't changed for us, you know, which is interesting. You know what I mean? The producer is usually an introvert. The producer usually likes times like this, you know, the winter when it's snowy outside and you ain't got to go out and you can just be locked down in your studio and just make beats. Yo, that's a blessing. We love those times. Summer now when the sun's busting and, you know, your family want to go here and go there and there's other stuff going on. It's like, you know, I'll speak for myself, but I'm sure many of you might agree that, you know, you got to take your family on a day out. You go to the beach, you know what I mean? You got this going on, you got that going on. And for me, I'm like, I just want to get back to the studio. You know what I mean? I want to make some beats. Or you go somewhere and you're inspired and you can't wait to get home and you get back and hopefully it's not too late and you can go in the studio. In times like this, during this quarantine period, we've got much more spare time. I'm interested to know how people are making best use of their time. And I would expect that after this period or during this period, producers are making more beats than ever. Artists are writing more music than ever. You know what I mean? Musicians are composing more music than ever because all the other social things have gone. You know what I mean? Let's say you used to go to the gym, you used to go swimming. Let's say you used to go, you know, if you're working from home, your commute's gone. So some of you may have had, you know, an hour commute back and forth to work. You've now got 2 hours extra because you're not commuting. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm saying during this period, I'm expecting tenfold more music to be released off the back of this. You know, I know my output has increased significantly. I've already got a beat tape. There's 12 beats on it, released. You know, I've got 3 tracks recorded with artists just during this period. So during this period, I've compiled, mixed, and mastered I don't call it an album. It's not an album. It's a beat tape because I didn't really invest that much time and energy in making it an album. So it's like an instrumental album, but it's more just a beat tape. It's just a number of beats that I made in a certain period. They've all got the same type of flavor, you know what I mean? It's like the same batch of beats. And I thought, you know what? I'm putting this out. I'm just putting it out. So it's available on all streaming platforms. I'm not promoting it yet because my distributor, and I'm going to talk about this after, my distributor messed up the distribution and I'm not happy with them at all. But that's another point to talk about shortly. So like I said, I've put that out. That was like first week of April. I've recorded 3 tracks with artists. So again, made the beat. This is like within the same night. Made the beat, sent it to them within a few days, got it back, track's done. One of them was a quarantine lockdown challenge we done as a family. We tried to get creative as a family. And one of them was a quarantine lockdown challenge. And the challenge was we're going to write, produce, and record a song in one night. And it was me, my wife, and my 16-year-old daughter. And we done it. And you know what? The song's all right, you know. The song is actually pretty good. It's called Playing My Emotions. My wife sang it. We all wrote it together. My daughter contributed significantly to the writing of the track. So, you know, I'm actually going to publish it, and I'm gonna give everyone like their publishing credits, because who knows, you know what I mean? Put it out there, someone could use it, you know what I mean? Not saying it's gonna be a hit, but it could end up on a, who knows, I don't know. But that was one of the challenges anyway. We're gonna do this this lockdown challenge. So yeah, all I'm saying is during this period, I'm expecting people to make best use of their time. I want to hear music after this. I want to hear projects. I want to hear, like, you know what I mean, like I said, beat tapes, instrumental albums, EPs. I'm expecting. I got high expectations from the community. So I don't hear no excuses. You got nothing else to do. You know what I mean? Put your stuff out, man. Put your music out. Which leads to my next point. My next point is why are we so resistant to release our artwork into the world? Why? And I say artwork, right? This is a big issue, yeah. And again, it links back. I think it links back to the other point about negativity, criticism, bitterness. You know, that whole negative vibe that's within the producer community, and not just the producer community, within the music industry. There's a real resistance to release music, and I think the worry is that it's not good enough. My art is not good enough. But if you look at it like this, and again, it's about changing your perspective. Yeah, if you change your perspective, so don't say your music, don't say your song, don't say your track, say my art. Yeah, because it's what you're doing is your creative expression. Yeah. You're gifted. You've got a gift to make music, to produce. Yeah, it's something you enjoy. You love it. You're gifted to do it, because not everyone can do it. The fact that you can chop up a sample or get on a keyboard and play some notes and string it together, and it makes sense and it sounds, don't take that for granted. What I'm saying is, the point I'm making is, if you look at it as art, who am I to tell you that your artwork's wrong? It's not good enough. Like, the way you're painting the brush on that canvas is wrong. You know what I mean? The way you've mixed those colours together there, it's wrong. I can't tell you that, you know, because it's your artwork. Do you get what I'm saying? So because there's been a pattern of that over the years, you know what I mean, and because music is commercialized and, you know, it's out, there's a music industry, there's now a pattern of what is successful music. Yeah. And then what happens is people think, if it doesn't sound like this, it's not successful, therefore it's not good enough. But if it's art, and I'm saying, this is how I am expressing myself as an artist, you can't tell me it's not good enough. It might not sound like what's on the radio. It might not sound like what what my man's doing over there, or Y is doing over there. It might not sound like that, but this is my art. So why should the world not receive my artistic expression? Why should I just be in my studio and I'm listening to it myself and I'm enjoying it, thinking, yo, it gives me a vibe, it gives me an energy, it gives me a feeling, you know what I mean? When I guarantee you can go to your folder, wherever you keep your beats, pull out something, play it, and you see that feeling it gives you, that's the same feeling it'll give someone else. Now it might not be mixed and mastered to the quality that you think it should be. It might not sound like what's on the radio, like I said. It may not have been mastered in a multi-million-dollar studio, but that same vibe, that same energy, that same, you know what I mean, feeling it's giving you, the people that need to hear it and receive it, they will, and they should. It's, you know what I mean, it's like, it's your artistic expression. It's your artistic expression. Share it with the world. It's been given to you for everyone else. Like, you're just the vessel to put this into the world. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. What's the resistance? It's like, is it Pytro? Pytro says, yeah, everyone's too scared of rejection and critics, and it's very true. You know, is my book downstairs? There's a book, I don't know if you've read the book called The War of Art. Stephen Pressfield wrote it. And basically it's a spin-off, or it's a spin on the famous book The Art of War by Sun Tzu, which I got it here. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Stephen Pressfield wrote The War of Art, and I'm not going to go into you know the depths of the book, but basically it talks about the struggle of the creative. Now, as a creative, we all have the same or a similar struggle, and that struggle is like imposter syndrome. You ain't good enough. It's not good enough. You have these inner fears, you know what I mean, these limiting beliefs that are inside of you that tell you you're not good enough, and it's not good enough. And it's wicked, man. It's evil. It's evil because it's like it's your own voice. It's your head telling you you're not good enough. That beat's not good enough. That track's not good enough. No one don't want to hear that. It's rubbish. If you put that out, people are gonna laugh at you and say, "Who do you think you are?" You know what I mean? It's like that imposter syndrome. Who are you? You ain't no producer. That holds more people back than any real, tangible barrier. And because of that, those limiting beliefs, because of those internal negative voices, you then start making excuses like, oh, yeah, I ain't. Okay. Before I'm at that point, let me say this. How many times have either you said or you've heard somebody say this? I'm going to play this beat. But before you play the beat, you put a disclaimer in place. So it's like, oh, yeah, man, I made this beat. I ain't finished it yet, though. And I ain't mixed it or mastered it yet. And I ain't arranged it yet. So straight away, you're putting in all these excuses to kind of lower the expectation of the listener. Rather than just pressing play and letting them hear the beat or letting them hear the track, there's always like a disclaimer. Yeah, it's not finished yet. This is just a rough version. I ain't mastered it yet. It needs mixing. I've said it, and I'm trying to stop saying it because it's negative. Just play the thing, just play the beat, and let the listener make their decision. They might turn around and say, "Yo, I like the raw sound of it. It sounds gritty. I love it." But if you've planted the seed in their mind that it's not finished and I haven't arranged it yet and it's not mixed or mastered, straight away they're like, okay, yeah. It just plants a seed in their mind that's unfinished and it's not going to be very good. So those limiting beliefs, we need to quieten them, shut them down. You know what I mean? And once you recognize it for what it is and you can identify it, you then got control over it. It's been disempowered. It will still be there. It will always be there. However, it's less powerful when you can identify it and say, nah, I'm not having it. That's a limiting belief. That's that little stinking negative voice lying to me saying, oh, you ain't good enough. You ain't as good as so-and-so. No one don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Once you overcome that, you'll have much more liberty and freedom to put your music out. Guaranteed. I'm telling you, it's wicked, man. It's wicked. The world needs to hear your art. You know, like I said, if you wasn't doing music and you was painting pictures putting colours on a canvas, yeah, you look at some of the most expensive abstract art in the world. Yeah, some of it looks like a 6-year-old painted it. Some of it looks like it was made by accident. You know, I saw an artist recently, and what he was doing, he basically put a big piece of canvas on like a turntable, not a record player turntable, like a big turntable on the floor, spinning wheel on the floor, spun it, and just basically just splashing paint on it. He had spray cans. He was spraying it up as it was going round. He was just waiting for it to come round, and bam, next color, this color, that color, and just creating this piece of art. And when it was finished, it was like, rah, it's a bit random, but I get it, and it looks good. It looked good. You know what I mean? And it was like you could tell he was at liberty. He didn't care about the rules. You know what I mean? It's like, forget the rules. I'm expressing myself artistically. I'm just doing this. You know what I mean? And what you'll find as well is those that are willing to break the rules are the ones that break through. Those are the ones that become the trailblazers. You look at every artist, whether it's musically, whether it's, you know what I mean, dance, whether it's film writers, any type of creative expression. You look at the biggest names, some of the biggest names that have really been like, not biggest names, the trailblazers, the ones that really broke ground. They're the ones who says, I don't care. I'm not trying to be like them. I'm trying to do my own thing. I'm trying to do it differently. Those are the ones who changed the game because they were at liberty. And it was like, you know, I don't care. I don't care what anyone thinks. Everyone in the hip hop community might say his beats are whack. I don't like. Look at okay. Do you remember when Swiss Beats first came out? When Swiss Beats first came out with the Rough Riders, he came out in a period where he was just coming out of the back of a rough, rugged, raw East Coast hip hop sound. You know, and he was in New York. You know what I mean? And he came with keyboards. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I'll be honest with you. When I first heard it, I thought, my man sounds like he's made some Casio beats. You know what I mean? The synth sounds and the pianos and that. It was like, yo, it sounds a bit kind of Casio-ish. He wasn't using samples like everyone else was. It had that authentic boom bap East Coast hip hop sound. Swiss Beats come and was like, nah, I ain't doing that. Whether it was because he didn't want to use samples, whether it was because he didn't know how to sample, who knows? I don't know his reason why, but he clearly came with a different sound. And now look, he's held in high regard. You know what I mean? To me, he's not one of the best producers. He's not on my top 5, probably not even on my top 10 list as a producer. But that doesn't mean he wasn't good. He's just not he wasn't my flavor. It wasn't my, you know what I mean, my style. But when you look at like now, he is mentioned amongst those who changed the game. You know what I mean? You can look at certain periods and certain milestones in hip hop. Swiss Beats' name is mentioned the same way Primo's name's mentioned, the same way Timbaland's name's mentioned, Pharrell as well. There's others, you know, Dre, who came and changed the game. Like boom, there's a significant change in the game since that person. If you're willing to overcome and not be hindered by the limiting beliefs and the fear of rejection and criticism, you could be one of those as well. You know what I mean? I know I'm not saying it's easy, it's hard, but you know, once you find your unique sound and you find, you know, your unique method of expression through your music and you don't care what anyone else thinks, that's powerful. You will change the game. You know what I mean? And it might not be successful, but that doesn't matter. It might not be commercially viable, that don't matter, because your audience will find you, especially nowadays. You know what I mean? How easy it is to distribute music now, how easy it is to release and put your music out there and to engage with people. Your audience will find you. And, you know, you might have a cult following of 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 true fans. And that's what they say. There's that saying, you know, all you need is your 10,000 true fans. Once you've got those fans and anything you put out, they support it. Anything you put out, they're like, yeah, man, I'm on that thing. That's all you need. You need that 10,000 true fans. You know, you don't need to be going platinum and have, you know, millions of followers and millions of people who mess with your stuff. You just need that few thousand who they will support your thing. As long as you can put it out and, you know what I mean, that they're supporting it, that's enough. And again, it might not be 10,000, it might be 1,000, it might be 100. All I'm saying is, as long as you're not limited, you know what I mean, express yourself, man, and release your music, because the world need to hear it. You've been given a gift and the world need to hear it. I don't want to labour that point too much. You get what I'm saying. And hopefully you've been encouraged and motivated by that. If so, make sure you give me a like. Make sure you give me a, you know what I mean, a shout out in the comments. And we're going to move on. I got a number of points here we can talk. I got stuff we can talk about. You know what I mean? We could talk about the producer battles. I was going to talk about the producer battles that's been going on recently. But I don't know. I'm going to talk about this. Okay, so this kind of links now to that same point. Yeah, perfect segue. Right. As a producer, and this will probably be my last point. I just looked at the time. This will probably be my last point. As a producer, right, this is something I've clocked, yeah? We make the music, yeah? And then, oftentimes, and again, it's not in every circumstance, it's not in every situation, but oftentimes, we make the beat, and then we look for or connect with a vocalist, whether it's a rapper, a singer, someone to put vocals on it to finish it. Am I right? That's usually the case. You make the beat and then you connect with someone else and then they finish it off by putting lyrics on it, putting singing on it, putting their voice on it. I was thinking about it the other day and talking about it to my wife. Like, it's almost like we're the only artists who need someone else to be able to fully express our art. Do you get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So it's like I make a beat and until it's been voiced and finished, I can't really it's almost like it's unfinished. You're by releasing an instrumental album, it's like it's unfinished, or instrumental project, it's like it's unfinished. That's like in the society we live in now, in the culture we live in now, the way the music industry is, like an instrumental track is almost like it's unfinished. So therefore, I'm now got to find someone else who clicks with what I'm doing, relates with what I'm doing. We get a good vibe. There's a good vibe between us. We're willing to work together. There's no kind of barriers in terms of, I want money for the beat, or he wants money to spit on my track, or do you get what I'm saying? It's like there's just a barrier, whatever it might be, whatever the barriers, you know, contracts, publishing splits, technology, whatever it might be. There's usually a barrier. You know what I mean? Even like, okay, I ain't feeling him, like, or him or her. I've got this beat, they want to rap on it, but I ain't really feeling him. You know what I mean? I'm not really feeling what they've done on it. Or vice versa. you're playing this person beats and like, nah, I don't really feel that. It's not really. They're thinking commercially viable. They're thinking, oh, it's not really a radio friendly track, or that's not really for the clubs. Do you get what I'm saying? Rather than it's just art. So then it's like, as a producer, our artistic expression is again hindered by other external factors. Someone else, a rapper, a singer, a vocalist, someone coming on it to finish it. And again, why is my instrumental not good enough to put out in the world by itself? Why is that not classed as like would mainstream radio play this beat just by itself? I've arranged it, I might put some cuts in there, whatever. Would they necessarily play it just by itself in the mix? Like, bang, just play it. Where if somebody rapped on it, it's like, okay, yeah, it's finished now. That's a track, we can play that. You know what I mean? Where when you look at other genres of music, you look at, say, like drum and bass, EDM, you know what I mean, dance music, the majority of it is instrumental. So they're just making it, they're not hindered by anyone else. So this is mainly, again, it's mainly for those in the hip hop genre that are hindered, because the expectation is there's going to be rapping on it. Someone's going to rap on it, even if it's an instrumental album or instrumental release. The expectation is it's been built for someone to rap on. So then it's like I said, there's a lot of hindrances, man. Like, you can't put it out then because no one's raps on it. Put it out. Don't wait for, you know what I mean? Don't wait for someone to say, yeah, it's good enough for me to rap on. Then it's a finished track. Then we can release it. What's his name? Illmind. I watched an Illmind video on YouTube some time ago, a couple of weeks back, and he made a good point. And he was saying, just release your music on digital streaming platforms. Like, don't just put it on, I don't know, SoundCloud, or just have it on your hard drive. Put it on the proper platforms. Put it on Spotify. Put it on Amazon Music. Put it on Apple Music. And then when you start talking to other people, let's say you're talking to a rapper, you're talking to an MC, you're talking to a singer, and they're like, oh, have you got beats? It's like, yeah, man, I got beats. Send them to your Apple Music. Send them to your Spotify. Because straight away, there's a few things going to happen. They're going to know, right, my man's serious. It's not just, oh, here's a Dropbox link, or I'll send you some files, or oh, it's on SoundCloud. You know what I mean? It's like, it's on the platforms. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple. It's on, whatever other platform, Amazon Music, whatever. It's out there. Go and listen to it. So that straight away has raised the status of the game you're playing. Like, I'm serious. I ain't waiting for you. I'm releasing my music. I'm not dependent on you to tell me I'm good enough, or to make me feel good enough to release my music. It's out. Go and check it out. That's one thing. The other thing is, and this was a good point as well, is that when they go and listen to it, you're getting royalties. Do you get what I'm saying? Rather than sending them a file and then they just listen to it on email, and they listen to it 3 or 4 times, or you send them to your SoundCloud or whatever, you send them to these platforms. Every time they spin that, you're getting royalties. And obviously, it's not gonna make you rich, but it's something. You know what I mean? It's something. So, yeah, man, put your stuff out. That's kind of the theme of today's podcast. Put your stuff out there. It's never been easier to release music. I did say I was going to talk about digital streaming platforms, and this is probably a good segue. So there are a number of digital streaming platforms and distributors. The digital distributors that you can use. DistroKid, CD Baby. There's one here in the UK, Ditto, and others. Let's have a quick look. Actually, I don't know any other popular ones. Let's have a look. Music. Okay, so TuneCore, that's the other one. DistroKid, CD Baby, TuneCore, and Ditto here in the UK. Those are the main ones I know of. And they're cheap. Really, when you look at what you're paying, there's no excuse. You know what I mean? There's no excuse. So at the moment, I use Ditto. The reason I chose to go with Ditto was because, number one, they're based here in the UK. Number two, the guys who founded Ditto are from literally like 30 minutes from where I live. To get what I'm saying, they're from Birmingham. And I thought, you know what? I like to support local independent businesses. I met the two CEOs at a music conference. They were cool guys, down to earth, probably a bit drunk at the time, but they were cool. You know what I mean? They're very receptive. We spoke. Got a good vibe from them. So I thought, yeah, man, I'm supporting these guys. I could go to TuneCore, I could go to CD Baby, DistroKid, whoever, but I want to support a local business. So I went with Ditto. Now, at the moment, I pay £19 a year. £19 a year. Like, I spend more than that on a weekend on takeout. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, when me and my family have pizza or we might have an Indian, whatever, you know what I mean? When we have takeout, we spend more than that on a weekend. So £19 a year for unlimited releases for two artists. There's no excuse, really. You know what I mean? You spend more than that at McDonald's in one sitting. You spend more than that at KFC. So as a creative and as an artist, because as a producer, you're an artist, I would say there's no excuse. Invest in having your own distribution platform. Yeah. And again, I'm not talking about SoundCloud, Bandcamp, all them things are great, but get your stuff on these platforms because they're there. And the general average person ain't going to SoundCloud. They're not going to Bandcamp. They're kind of niche, you know what I mean? Where the average Joe, the average listener, they're on Spotify. And also in the minds of people, SoundCloud's here, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon is here. So there's that status thing. So hear what I'm saying. There's no excuse, really. Get an account set up, any of those platforms, get an account set up. You pay $20 a year for unlimited releases. Yeah. Why would you not do that? What's the barrier for doing that? You know what I mean? You can now distribute your music to the entire world for $20 a year. Unlimited releases. You could release. Imagine if you know, like my output's quite a lot. I produce a lot of beats a week. I could release a beat every day for a year for $20. That's 365 beats for $20. You know what I mean? You imagine if each one of those beats just gets the general play, you know what I mean? Just someone bumps into it on Spotify, someone bumps into it on, like, I'm not heavily promoting it, I'm not marketing it like that. I might put stuff out on Instagram, I do my YouTube stuff, you know what I mean? But I'm not like heavily invested in marketing it. However, with 365 beats, I know it's a bit of an exaggeration, you know, you're not going to release a beat a day. But even if you do one a week, that's still 52 beats. Let's use that example, 52 beats a year. You got 52 beats on all these platforms, every digital streaming platform, because most distributors put it on every single platform. Yeah. Even if people just stumble across it, one of them might end up on a playlist. You might end up on a, you know, depending on your genre, you know what I mean? Someone might hear it and playlist it, and it just ends up in someone's playlist. You might end up getting, if each one of those tracks gets played 1,000 times a year, that's 52,000 streams a year. Now let's do some quick maths. And again, what I'm saying is, it's not the point. I'm not making a point to say that's going to make you a millionaire. You can't retire off it, but your average stream royalty is 0.007. It's between 4 and 7 per stream. Yeah. So times that by 52,000. Yeah. That's $364 a year. Now, I'm not going to turn up my nose. If someone says to me, yo, I'll give you $400 a year just to listen to your music, I'll be like, yo, of course, no problem. You know what I mean? I can't retire off of that. But, you know what I mean, that might cover my car insurance for the year. You know what I mean? That might cover my insurance policy on my house or something for the year. It's basically passive income that's taking care of a bill. So it's less money coming out of your pocket. You know what I mean? And it's passive. That's just forever. That will just keep going. And obviously, the more you put on there, the more it's going to grow. So why would you not do that? Why would you not do that? But this is the point I'm making, yeah? Research and review the distribution platform before you invest in it. Yes, it's only $20 a year, yeah? And it's not that much money, but it's not about the money. It's about the service. And again, like I said, I went with Ditto, and I'm kind of regretting it, to be honest. You know what I mean? I like the guys. It was nice to meet them. They were, like I said, they were very welcoming. They seemed like good guys. Obviously, their intention is not to provide a poor service. I don't think they set up the business and says, yo, let's provide a poor service to these musicians and charge them $20 a year and give them a crap service. I'm sure that's not their intention. However, the service I've been receiving ain't been great. And again, it's not about the money, it's about the uncertainty. So, for example, if with the latest beat tape that I submitted or released, it was a month ago, almost to the day. It was the 28th of March. I submitted it for release. So, you know what I mean, pulled all the beats together, mixed them. Didn't really master them, but I just, give them a decent mix, compiled it, uploaded my artwork, done everything I needed to do, submit. I'm committed now. That's it. I'm doing it. Submitted it all. It went through the review and they gave me a release date of the 2nd of April. I was like, yep, all good. It's on. It's releasing. It's coming out. 2nd of April. So then I thought, right, I'm going to go ahead and make some social media images. So for each track, I've done like just a 1 minute sample of the track, made some artwork with the track name, put the album artwork on there as well, and the date coming, the release date, 2nd of April, beat tapes dropping, bam, posting it every day. So basically it was like 10 days up until the release. So every day for 10 days, I'm posting another beat, posting another beat. And what I noticed was it was getting traction. Each time I posted on my social media, it was getting more likes, and I could see some interest was gathering. It was almost like it was building up the anticipation. The 2nd of April come, no release. I was like, okay, maybe it's gonna come out like at midnight on the 2nd of April. The 2nd of April became the 3rd of April. No release. So I'm like, okay. Right, it's raining outside. I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I wrote to their support, like to say, what's happening with my release? So they then contacted me off the back of my support ticket. They contacted me and said, some of your files are corrupt, so you need to re-upload them. And I was like, okay, so when did we find this out? So then I went back and I re-uploaded all the tracks, and I was kind of grateful as well, because one of the tracks I never arranged it. When I clocked it, I was like, that's too long. that, you know, I mean, the track's like, it ended up being like 5.5 minutes long, and I thought it doesn't need to be that long. I'm glad this has happened. Give me a chance to chop that down. And what I done, I went through and I kind of retweaked some of the tracks, yeah, and also rearranged them. So I put them in different order because I thought that track should come after that one. So yeah, because I had a bit of time, I reordered everything. So yeah, I was grateful for that. Bam, reposted. Yeah, got my new date ready to go. And I thought, you know what? I'm not even promoting it again. It's out there. When it releases, it releases. Then I will push it. I want it on the platform first. I'm not going to prematurely promote it. When it's up and I can see it on the platform, then I'm promoting it. So again, the average time is about 10 days. That 10 days came and went. No release. I'm like, yo, what's going on? But by this time, I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't like forcing it. I thought, you know what? When it's time, it's time. So I wasn't really pressuring them. I wasn't pressing them to say, yo, my release. I thought when it lands, it lands. It got to like the 20-something of April, and I thought, nah, they're having a laugh now. This is taking way too long. So then contacted their support. Yo, what's happening? My release, you gave me this date. I fixed the problems. You know what I mean? I updated the files. What's happening? And it was like my email to them triggered their support to say, oh yeah, we can see it's pending for release. We'll push it over to the content team. It should be out within the next 24 to 48 hours. I was like, okay, obviously you ain't got your stuff together. 24 to 48 hours became like 4 days. And then it suddenly just appeared. They sent me an email. Oh, your release is now available on all platforms. Here's your smart link. Click on. You can share your smart link with other people. So basically, they send you like a smart link that you can send out, and it's got all the streaming platforms where it's available. You send out one email. They can click on the one that they choose. So if they like Apple Music, they can click on Apple Music. It takes you straight to their project. If they prefer to use Spotify, they click on Spotify. It takes them straight to Spotify, to your track on Spotify or your project on Spotify. All good. I was like, yeah, finally I can start promoting the thing. I clicked the smart link. It took me to my project. However, my project was under another artist's name with the same name as me. I was just like, really? Like, are we really that incompetent? Like, what are you telling me that you can only have one in the entire music industry, in the entire world? You can only have one artist with one name. That you can't have duplicate names. So I went. I mean, I'd already researched this before anyway, because when I was checking to see if my release was out, I was typing Mr. Brown. That's my production name. I type in Mr. Brown and I saw there's other Mr. Browns, and I was like, well, yeah, that's fine. You know what I mean? It's a big world out here. There's gonna be more than one artist with the same name as you. And I thought, I'm not changing my name. It is what it is. That's the name I'm working with. That's who I am. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not changing it to appease anyone else. So I'm happy to compete. Do you get what I'm saying? So they'd released my project under another Mr. Brown. Now, this was my first official release through this distributor. So what should have happened, because I've released other music through them, but it's like old music, stuff that I'd done back in the day, and I just wanted it on the platforms. And that was, I used to go by the name Friction, and I worked with an artist named H. So we had a group, it was H and Frick. So I would release through them before, H and Frick. What they'd done was it's your first release, so they create the artist profile and then post the music under the artist profile. So I assumed the same thing would happen here. It's now, I'm releasing it as Mr. Brown. Yeah, so what they should have done was created Mr. Brown's profile on all the platforms and then posted the music underneath that. They didn't do that. What they'd done was they just found a Mr. Brown that existed on these platforms and posted it under his. And I was like, guys, come on. And I'm going to check Spotify right now because that's my go-to platform. You know what I mean? I got a Spotify account. I don't use Apple Music. I'm gonna go to Spotify now. Like this has been over a week, probably longer, since I've been going back and forth with them. So I've actually released. So I released the instrumental, the beat tape project with 12 beats on there, and I've also released 2 other singles while still waiting for the album project to drop. Yeah, my other singles have come out, and again they've put them under the same artist. Before this, they've even sorted this out. I'm just like, really? So let me look. It's not even coming up now. Yeah, it's cut a long story short. Review the distributor that you choose before you choose them. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it's not about the money, it's about the uncertainty. I'd like to know if you're going to give me a release date that my music will be on the platform on that date, or else you can't market, you can't promote, you can't confidently say, bam, you know what I mean, get your artwork created. I mean, fortunately, I can design my own artwork. Imagine I was working with a graphic designer, or I paid someone to do it for me, and I'm saying, yeah, the release date's the 2nd of April. So they then create, 10 pieces of artwork for the 10 songs, the 10 samples or snippets that I'm going to use leading up to the release. And then I go back to him and say, oh, sorry, the date's wrong. Can you redo it for me? I've got to pay him again to do that. And then they mess up. The date comes and goes, and I got to go back to him again and say, yo, I need you to redo it. It's just a mess, man. It's a hot mess. So, yeah, man, definitely review. Before you invest in a distribution platform, definitely read the reviews. Speak to other people who use these distribution platforms. Ask as many people as you can. Yo, who do you use to distribute your music? How have you found them? Any problems? Do research online. Ask in these communities, those same negative communities I was talking about earlier. Ask in there, who do you use? Any issues with them? Because it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. Like, I can't even promote, like right now, I can't even promote my tracks because it's under the wrong artist. Like, they're all on the platform, but they're under the wrong artist. So, yeah, man. Definitely do your research. Again, like I said, it's a small investment, but it's not about the money. It's about the certainty that if they give you the release date, it's going to come out on that day. Also, what I clocked as well, and this is my last point, what I clocked was when I was getting frustrated with them, with their support, because I was sending support tickets and they weren't responding, or they were responding like 2 days, 3 days later. So I took to Twitter, and I noticed that when I went to Twitter, the people weren't happy. The people were not happy. Like under almost every one of their tweets, there was something negative said. So, for example, they'd put a tweet out saying, find out how to get listed on our playlist. So they're basically saying, we've got our own playlist on say Spotify. Read this blog post and find out how to get on our playlist. And people are like, yo, I don't care about your playlist, just distribute my music. That'll be a good starting point. Just get me on the platform first, then we can talk about your playlist. Almost every post they put out